so much for stopping by. This is Amy. Tonight I am going to show you how I painted this design and on the black cardstock, and then eventually I will do a video showing you how I actually place this design on a wine glass. So for this evening we are going to be using Folk Art Enamels Yellow Light, one of my favorites, Wicker White. This is a multi-surface perfect purple, Folk Art Enamels Thicket, Yellow Citron, and this one is Evergreen. Brushes I'm using are number 10, a flat brush, a large Scruffy brush, and then a large round brush. First I'm going to get started by pouncing an area here on my paper with the Thicket, and I'm just going to randomly pounce this pattern or this shape onto the black cardstock. And what I do is I like to do a demonstration video doing the actual design, and then from there I go ahead and place it on a wine glass instead of just doing it strictly on the wine glass first. I'm hoping that you can see more of the stroke work when I'm doing it on the paper. That's the reason for it. The design will be a little bit different once I place it on the glass, but this is just for the purpose of you being able to see some of the stroke work that I'm doing as I'm developing the pattern. Alright, so I have that. Now I am going to just rotate from the Thicket to the Citron to the Evergreen and do kind of a grass pattern underneath. Granted, you really can't see a whole lot of that with the design once I painted over it, but I'm going to go ahead and get started doing it still regardless. And I'm going to be rotating back and forth between these three different colors. And with this, I can maybe touch and pull, or just do it very lightly, a thin blade of grass, and again just in random directions. There's really no wrong or right way to do this. I just keep doing it and building on it as I go. The blades of grass can definitely be different shapes, different lengths. There's just no rhyme or reason as far as that it has to be, you know, short little stubbies or long winding pieces of grass. It's really just up to you, and just to kind of do it in a random pattern and just keep going over it until you pretty much fill the area in. I like to try to have a more pointier tip when I finish. Sometimes that doesn't happen, and it's okay if it doesn't. And I am just crossing over these blades of grass while it's wet. I did actually put a hair dryer to my painting after I get this process done, and the reason being I wanted to try to avoid as much, you know, bleeding over when I started doing the Wicker White and the perfect purple. I didn't want to have a lot of green showing up. Up to you, as I always say, up to you. You make that decision. With this design though, like I said, you can just, you know, do a fatter beginning, end off with a thinner, do some wigglies. Because again, a lot of this is going to be covered up, if not all of it. It's kind of a good background for your flowers and the leaves to be painted on. I like how it turned out. I wasn't too sure about it, but then as I finished it, I thought, oh, I really like it, actually. Again, as you can see, I'm just putting in random directions, whimsically. Actually, if you just do it more in a whimsical manner, very quickly, sometimes that makes it turn out better. And I'm hoping that you can actually see my strokes. I'm trying to keep an eye on that while I'm painting. I am a lefty, so if you're doing something right-handed, keep in mind that you may be needing to start a different direction than what I'm doing. Holding your brush a little differently than I'm holding it, just so that you're aware it does make a difference. Makes a difference in how you start a project, how you finish a project, where you begin and end. People don't realize that until they're either trying to teach somebody that's left-handed how to do something, or they're actually left-handed themselves trying to do something and think, oh my god, I can't get this. Why can't I understand it? Well, a lot of times it's because it's not being done the way that you're actually, the natural way that you could do the creation. And that truly does make a difference. So keep that in mind anytime you're watching me paint something. And it may seem a little bit more difficult. You might have to step back and take a look at it yourself and see if that's maybe not the issue. Now you can actually have these little sprays of the grass, the little blades, come out of this part that I pounced. It doesn't really have to stay within it. Again, just for the purpose of this video, I'm just doing that. But you truly don't have to. And you can actually round out some of the petals, not petals, but the grass blades at the bottom here if you wanted to. It's really up to you. Alright, I think I've gotten to a point where I'm going to leave it as it is. I don't want to overwork it too much, especially since a lot of it's going to be covered up anyways. I am going to hit it with the hairdryer and give me an opportunity to get it somewhat dry before I continue on. Alright, so the next thing we're going to do is get out the flat brush. I'm going to double load it with the Perfect Purple and my Wicker White. Now the petals on this flower are basically, hopefully you can see this. Move my paint back a little bit. Of course it falls on the floor. Alright, so basically you're going to start with a petal and then you're just going to do a quick up and down movement. Keeping your brush straight up and down helps a lot with this type of a movement. And you can go over it if you're not happy. And I find the slower I do it, the better I'm doing it. But again, you have to get the feel for what feels right for you. Alright, so I'm going to go here to start it again. And keep going. I'm creating them as a 5-petal flower. Again, keeping my brush up and down as much as possible. If I feel like it's a little thin, I can go back over it. And there is a little bit of bleeding, as you can see. Not bleeding, but some of the color from beneath coming through. That's fine. Not a biggie. You can just go over it, kind of fill it in as much as you can. And then just keep doing it. I'm trying to when I'm doing it, keep a space in between the petals a little bit. Didn't do a good job on this one, but I can do it here. Because if it works better for you to pick up the speed when you're doing that type of a movement, that's fine. That might be something that would be, you know, easier for you. Alright, then I'm going to go ahead and start another one down here. I'm overlapping the flower above. And that's intentional. Okay, and then again I'm trying to leave a little bit of a space in between there. Maybe even think of it as a little bit of a V if you want. Like I said, you can go over it if you feel like you need to fill in the color a little bit more, if it's too transparent. I'm not too worried about it tonight for the purpose of this video, but it's really easy just to go back in, put some more color on it, and pull it in like that. Not a biggie. Alright, I like to work in odds, if anybody's noticed that. Alright, so I'm going to start up here in this top. And if you feel like you got too much paint, I know some people say that you don't have to keep loading your brush each time you do a stroke. You really don't. But some people feel like, I don't know, it's just a feeling that you get that you just have that need to do that. And you really don't have to. There we go. I feel like I hear my dog upstairs chewing on something. It's like, oh yikes, oh no, the healer's at it again. This one I feel like it needs more color to it. Make sure I'm staying within my... Almost like you're scrubbing something. I don't know how to explain it, like when you're going back and forth. Like I said, if you feel like you get better coverage or you more control over it if you go faster, that's fine too. I think I'm going to come back over this one here. I feel like I need more purple in there. Oh, it's got too much now. That's why I say you can play with it. I mean, don't get too crazy about it. You'll end up finding yourself messing it up. Okay, so this is where I started. I'm just going to keep adding more flowers in here, more flower petals. Again, the overlapping is intentional. I'm going to go over this again. And you can keep them smaller. I mean, if you only want to do like 3 strokes or 4 strokes or whatever. I like them to be a little bit bigger, so that's why I'm doing... I don't know how many swipes I'm actually doing. Let me count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There you go. I'm doing 7. 7, 7, 7. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And they don't all have to be lined up either. Straight across. You can zig it, zag it. Like this point comes out. That's fine. Okay, we'll just keep adding. sometimes I don't like a lot of paint on my brush, so I might have a tendency to scrape some of it off. Whereas some people might like to have a lot of paint on their brush. I just don't know why. Sometimes it bothers me. And this one, you know, because the paint was a little bit thicker down here, is pulling the green in. I'm trying to get it out a little bit. So nothing fancy. Alright, so then that flower goes over there. And then I'm going to throw in one more down here. Yeah, I might have maybe thrown the hairdryer on this a little bit longer. And it works better too if you have a good brush that the brush or the hairs on it are actually not used a lot. Like this one is pretty thin, because if they start to spread out and they're worn, a lot of times that will not allow you to have a nice either finish or make a nice shape. Alright, see, these are pretty easy. They don't take very long to make. I'm going to go back over this one a little bit. Still looks really green. Anyways, you get the gist of it. If you want to alleviate that, the point would be to make sure it's dry before you continue on. And just keep in mind to keep your paintbrush up. Up, up, up. So that it gives a better... Try to cover up more of that green if possible. Again, that's fine. I'm just hitting into some areas where the paint was a little bit thicker. Okay. Alright, so there we are. Got that part done. I think I forgot to mention I'm going to use a stylist. I am going to use the yellow light to dot the centers of the flowers. And on this, I am just putting a random amount of dots in the center. I just want them to be visible. I feel like if I used white or purple, obviously purple wouldn't show up very well. But, or a different shade of purple. I think the yellow is pretty with the purple. And I think the stylus works really well for doing the dots. I know there's some other dotting tools out there that people use, but I'm not a real good dot maker for whatever reason. I feel like this kind of works the best for me. I'm sorry about all the noise in the background. It's my plumbing pipes are making a lot of noise. But I think it makes them pretty. And see, so far you can still see a little bit of the grass behind. But the one thing nice about doing it this way, when I transfer this pattern to a wine glass, it'll make it more durable because the paint will be thicker. As I have mentioned in the past, I like doing that for that reason. And also makes it more opaque too. Alright, so what I'm going to do now is just add some leaves in. And these are just going to be some basic leaves primarily using the Citron, I think I'm saying it wrong, Citron and the Thicket. Thicket's probably my favorite green to go to for doing leaves, if you haven't noticed. And I'm just going to do some basic wiggle ones. Nothing too crazy on this. And you can rotate them, doing like the dark on the outside. And I know a lot of this kind of blends in because of the green background. I get that. You could do other colors if you wanted to. Use something different than what you actually use for the background. Will make it stand out more. I like the way it turned out on my sample, so I decided just to keep it this way. So I'm just going to go through here and just randomly add leaves, do some one-strokey kind of, where you push it down and pull it. Very easy to do. On this one, I think I'm going to rotate it here a little bit, put the green on the outside. You can do it that way. These are like my favorite ones to do. You can do it where you're actually keeping the green on the inside, even though you have the green here on the outside and green here. You can do it that way. You can do different shaped flowers if you choose to give it some interest. I just kind of prefer to do these. And I'm going to go back to the dark shape on the outside, or the dark side on the outside here. Again, pulling it through on one of the flower petals, which is fine. And pulling it through. Now, my rhyme or reason to this, honestly, I just like I like leaves, so I like to put a lot of them in there. Now on my sample I didn't go over the actual petals of the flowers this much. Like I said, you're not going to be the same. On this one here, I'm going to do the outside is going to be the lighter green. You see how fun this is? I mean, you could do it where you had, I'm going to do this here, where you had different shapes of leaves, different types of leaves I should say. I'm going to do that. I'm going to pull some more, I'm going to turn it around like this, pull some more of these, push and pull. Just kind of do a slight little twist with your brush and pull up. You can do other things with your with the actual leaves if you wanted to. to do some of this kind in here too. You know, to make them look like they're part of it's flipped. We'll do that some other time. Right now I'm just trying to get the video done to where it's not too awful long. And see how fun this is. It's just, I love it. I'm probably getting off the screen here. Sorry if I am. And again, keep in mind, it's okay to go over the top of another leaf, the flower petals. It's okay, because in real and I'm sorry about the interruption. My video camera went off before I was finished and I didn't realize it. I want to just go ahead and show you again the final painting that I did. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. Any comments about my video? I'd love to hear from you. If you tried this design, please contact me. Let me know what you thought. And if you would, be able to share your design or your painting of this design with me, I'd love to see it. Make sure that you subscribe to my channel if you'd like to see more. Give me a big thumbs up and share this with all of your followers if you would. I'd appreciate it. And thanks again for stopping by. Again, like I said, I apologize for the interruption in the video. Hopefully I didn't miss too much, but if I did, I will be doing this on the glass here in the next few days. So stay tuned for the next video. And again, thanks so much for stopping by. Have a good evening.